Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sharpen Podcast, brought to you by Acumen. We're a growth community for business owners and CEOs that looking to help you grow your top line, optimize your bottom line, and enrich your storyline. My guest today is Travis Carpenter. He's a CEO of a Kansas City staple, Jack Stack Barbecue, and is on the Excel team here in Kansas City with Acumen. My name is Dan Cooper, and today our topic we're going to be talking about is sacrificing your sacred cows. The irony is thick that we're talking to a barbecue CEO and we're sacrificing sacred cows. What are sacred cows? There are things that are immune from criticism, usually unreasonably so. And if you tamper with or you tell people they're going to change, there's an outcry of some sort. So excited about this topic because they sacrifice a lot of cow over there. Travis, welcome to the show.
Mr. Cooper, glad to be here, man. I'm excited.
Uh,
Just don't ask me how many cows we sacrifice every
That's
year.
right. So you were just telling me before we hit record that there's a special celebration coming. What is that?
Yeah, so our first restaurant is turning 50 this year, our Martin City location, and we are kicking off a 2-week celebration starting on Monday.
Congratulations. 50
Thank you.
years is a super fun thing. You also showed me an old logo and a hat. So in weaving the hat and logo into this story,
Yep.
how did you start at Jack Stack and what do you do now?
So I started as a fry cook. My brother and I actually worked for another restaurant in Kansas City that closed. And the owner of that restaurant knew the owner of, it was Smokestack of Martin City back then, and said, "Hey, I got a couple of dudes that might be able to help." And we interviewed together. I was 15 at the time and got hired as a fry cook. And back then, beyond that, we were called Smokestack. We had a pig as a logo, and I was just showing Dan, I have my original hat from almost 30 years ago that I got on day one sitting on my desk. I haven't washed it. It doesn't smell very well, but it's mine and I'm proud of it. Has a pig on the front, and our uniform back then was this hat, a blue shirt that said "I got porked" on the back with a big pig on it, and jean shorts. So that was my awesome outfit as a fry cook as a 15-year-old. And Smokestack Martin City.
Uh, how times have changed. So fast forward from that time, what do you do now? And give us kind of just a broad overview of the business.
Yeah, so I am head barbecue boy, also known as CEO for us. We're Jack Stack now. We've got 6 restaurants all in the Kansas City area. We have a nationwide shipping business. We have a catering business. We do events up to 10,000 people, and we also have a growing large retail business as well. We'll sell our food in the Costco, Sam's Club, grocery stores, etc.
So that's a great transition. So we talk about sacred cows today. We're gonna include everybody's favorite topic, COVID. And so that retail one for you guys was a bit of a sacred cow, and that changed during COVID. So take us back and tell us the story. What was the cow that no one wanted to sacrifice when the public outcry, criticism, and how'd you get to here?
Yeah, so preparing for talking to you about this, I kind of wrote down made a list like what changed during COVID for us, and I made a list of like 8 like really big things that were dramatically different for us that we just tried during COVID. And you wake up and you can't open restaurants, and nobody's doing parties for 100, let alone 10,000, and things change, and the conservative, careful, measure 400 times and cut once sort of mentality that we had as a company kind of went out the window, and said, okay, let's just go try stuff that we were too scared to try before. And one of the first things that we did was grocery. And we had our product in the Costco's and Sam's Club of the world, but had not had them in grocery stores up to that point. Mostly because kind of two things. One was it would have dilute our brand locally if it was on all these grocery store shelves, and two, would it rob Peter to pay Paul? Would it take away from our carryout business, which was significant before COVID, and it's just grown since then, like most every restaurant, but was a really, really big deal to us. It was 25% of our restaurant sales prior to COVID. And so we didn't want to take away from that by shifting that to the grocery store. And we thought, you know what? Let's try. And we talked about it, met as a group almost every day at the start of COVID, and just wrote crazy wild ideas on a whiteboard of things that we, no idea was a bad idea, but things that we could go try. And one of the things was grocery. And from the day we wrote up on the whiteboard to the day we had stuff on a shelf in a grocery store was a week.
Bet everybody was moving fast back then,
Uh-huh.
because that's not the typical time it takes to get shelf space, right?
Yeah, it was crazy, and we were uniquely set up to do that quickly. So we had these shipping products, so we made our food and packaged it to ship all over the country, and so we had our protein, our side items in logoed, cryovac, containers, and we could easily go from A to B very quickly, and had some relationships with some grocery store owners in town, and their business was getting blown up, and like everything was just on the table for discussion, and we got an opportunity to do that and kind of ran with it. And
So I- why I guess you talked about it. You didn't want to rob Peter to pay Paul, but you didn't really know if
yep,
that would have worked.
we didn't know, and we learned very quickly that for the most part it's a different customer, or if it is the same customer, it's a different transaction,
Mm.
in a different meal period. It's, hey, I'm gonna throw it in my fridge, and I need to grab something on a Tuesday because I don't have time to cook and I got soccer practice or whatever else is going on. It's convenience at home versus a lot of what people are picking up our carryout for is to go to a sports game or a family event or something predetermined, versus in the fridge last minute. I don't want to think I can just grab.
Right. So I'm excited. I thought we were talking about one and you said eight. So what are the other what are several of the other big ones on that list you made
Yes.
that were big shifts?
So a couple of things were things that we thought, nope, not for us, or we're too scared to do, and other things were just ideas that came out of just randomly brainstorming. And the next big one, not a unique thing that happened at the time, but we had never wanted to do, was the third party delivery. And again, a lot of it was, you know, can we afford to do that? Because all those delivery companies charge a lot of money to allow that, and would that with that customer that was coming to us every day today or every week or whatever their cadence was, would they suddenly shift to this third party delivery, and we would lose the value proposition that we had? Could we afford to do that? And again, we just decided, let's just go try it, and we did, and now today, fast forward 4 years, it's over 10% of our carryout sales. As a company, it's significant. And originally we did a deal with DoorDash, and now we have Uber Eats, and it's gone really, really well for us.
Cool. What else?
What else? So the other thing we didn't do before, we didn't do these like weekly specials, weekly features. We've never wanted to be a quote unquote discount place. We wanted to just offer everyday value, and had, for whatever reason, thought that specials meant the opposite of that. And so we're always kind of scared to try that and do that. And we had done a little bit of that before, but not a ton. And then we just started, wasn't a way to discount, it was a way to come up with new creative ways, new packages, like family style meals or big tailgate packages, just cool things that we could offer our customer in a way that was value to them, was a new way to look at a product or to try a product. And that just, man, that exploded for us. And we still do that stuff today. We just started our new Chiefs tailgate packages with Creed and with Trey that we do every week or for the Chiefs home games. But that really started during COVID of, hey, how can we repackage, offer something cool to our guest? And there's this picture, I don't have it, I wish I would have brought it, but there's this picture of a line of cars wrapped around the plaza when we did this kind of crazy wing special during COVID. And I mean, it was thousands and thousands of people that showed up for this thing and kind of created this fun little buzz. So that was a new thing that we tried during COVID, and that kind of dovetailed with this other thing, which was we decided to roll out drive-through in all of our restaurants, which our buildings are not set up for that. So we literally found a group to paint our parking lots, and we had 4 drive-through lanes, added tents in all of our restaurants, and we rolled out carry-out drive-through in less than a couple weeks, just because we had to, like everybody did. You couldn't go inside, so what do you do? And we wanted to make it convenient for our guests who aren't comfortable getting out of their cars, and their lives have just changed, and that's what we came up with. Yeah, it was
So,
crazy.
so those are 4 really good examples of like not here, not this way to, well, let's do something new. And in some way you were forced to do it. So 4 years on, you've learned some things and there's new mindsets, new mentality. What have you learned from that experience? And then how does that inform how you guys execute today? Like what's changed? Has it stuck?
Yeah, so a lot of things have stuck. I mean, we did a couple things that were, you know, not good ideas and didn't work, but a lot of things did, and I think maybe the big overarching um, things we learned is one, like don't be afraid to try and to test, and if it doesn't work, to quickly get out of something. You don't need to double down on it. You can move on, but don't be afraid. Don't overthink. Just get out there and try and be a little more bold, take a little more risk. And so that was a really big takeaway. But maybe the biggest one was just to meet guests where they're at, um, and that's, you can see that in the grocery business is having that convenient for a guest to pick up, or the drive-through thing that we did, or even if it's just a feature that we run through carry out or in the dining room, that's just, very in tune with what the guests need, and what's easy for them, instead of, hey, what's easy for us as a business. Not that we did that a ton moving forward, but we just put a lot more emphasis on going, where are the guests at, what do they need, and how can we show up for them.
So how do you make sure that that mindset stays around today? Because we all get comfy. It's not like that what it was 4 years ago again. And now your business is even more complex because you've added some things and grown. So how do you keep the fire?
Yeah, so that's obviously hard. That's a question for all of us in every business, and um, I think, we're not perfect at that. Nobody is, but we encourage everyone to throw out ideas and to challenge, and celebrate that. And when we can call out people raising their hands and going, well, what if we did this and what if we did that, and to highlight and celebrate those individuals, it encourages other people to have the courage to do the same thing. And so we try to be intentional about doing that. And we the cadence of our meetings and what we talk about, and how we structure them has changed a bit since then. We're a lot more intentional and structured. And so we'll build things into our meetings. We'll go out of our way to talk about, these what if brainstorm type things as a group, and set aside time to be thoughtful. Like you have to create a margin and a space for it to go be intentional about it. Otherwise, you're in the grind solving whatever somebody throws in front of you, or whatever the world throws in front of you. It's easy to do that. So you got to kind of carve some of that out. Even if you don't know what the hell it's going to, excuse my language, what it's going to turn out to be, you got to try to do that, and block off stuff on your calendar. Which I laugh sometimes, Dan, because that's something you've always worked with me on over the years. Is block those times off on your calendar to go be intentional and creative and to explore a little bit. And so we're doing that as a company in our meetings too, which has been really good.
Oh, brainstorming is always fun, and you have a lively crew over there. How do you know which ideas are the good ones and what to go try? Because putting 10 ideas on a whiteboard, great. Uh, Only so much time and energy to go execute. What's the
Yeah.
decision process look like?
Yeah, well, we still suffer from our eyes are bigger than our stomachs on what we can accomplish with some of that stuff, and frankly, I and we could do a better job at saying no to some things. But to answer your question specifically, the biggest thing is does it help move our purpose forward? And if it does, it's a really easy slam dunk to do that, and otherwise, it's you know does it align with kind of the other things that we set our goals for the year, and to try to filter through that. And then it's not that the other ideas are bad, they just might not be the right ideas at the right time, and we put them in a parking lot for later. But those are usually how we try to filter those decisions as best we can. But like I
Your
said,
purpose? What?
yeah,
You
we have
use
a
a
purpose.
what's your purpose?
Oh, how about this? So I got this. I have these little hope signs everywhere. I know that not everybody's watching, but um, hope is our purpose, and our job, our purpose, is to create hope through our hospitality. And I know sounds a little bit squishy at times, but it's really not, man. If we get the opportunity to create something better for someone with this family-like care that we can do so well, either within our community or first and foremost, where we try to do that is within our four walls. If we take care of our team and love on our team and give hope to our team, it's this infectious, they want to go do it for other people. And then when you get people coming into your business to celebrate an anniversary or a first date or whatever it is that's going great in their life, or maybe they just lost a loved one and they're just coming in for some comfort, and we get to love on them and give them some reprieve for whatever it is that they're going through in their life. It's pretty special stuff.
That's super cool. So that's a cool filter to start with. Whatever word you use, purpose or vision. And then your tactical, which is then like, okay, we have goals for the year. Does this help us do that? If not, put it in a parking lot. Um, okay. So other tactical question then is, what does a test look like? How long do you test it before you know that it's something that you want to, once you have an idea and you want to do something new? um, how does that work?
Um, well, that's a good question. I don't know that there's an exact answer for that. It depends on
I got you.
it's yeah, that depends on a lot of factors. I mean, that could be a new way to hire or interview somebody. It could be a new, simple as a new menu item we're trying out. And sometimes they're really, really obvious, and sometimes they're not, man. It just depends. In our world, the food stuff is probably a pretty good example. We just rolled out a new menu this last week, actually, and we've got a few new items on it, and some of them are exploding and are doing really well, and others that I expected to don't. We had a pasta salad as a seasonal vegetable a few months back, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is incredible. It's going to do so well. Nobody bought it, and it had to come off the menu rather quickly. And so you just never know. But God bless, the public will tell you very quickly if you're doing well or you're not in a certain regard, and you got to listen and you got to adjust. So yeah, I know that's not a perfect answer to your question, but man, you just got to be good listeners and have some humility and go, well, that didn't work. Time to try something else.
Well, the market is your answer. So that is a good one.
Yep.
All right, let's
Yep.
go back inside.
Yep.
When you work in a place that has lots of systems in order to make it all work, like a restaurant or shipping, most of your businesses actually need tons of process and operational expertise to make it happen. When you change something, and I like the way it's always been done. It works fine. I'm really good at it already. And you want to change something, I might not want to go along with it. So to me, it's sacred. How do you deal with internal pushback to external change?
Yeah, well, I think the simple response to that is you got to ask the people doing the whatever on what it needs to be changed to. If I'm sitting up here and in some sort of ivory tower making decisions on what needs to change and how it needs to be changed, and I'm, removed from the people that it's going to affect and haven't even asked them, well, then that's doomed to fail from the beginning. And so, man, you gotta flip that on its head, and you gotta go to the people doing the whatever it is and saying, how would you do this? How would you change this? How would you make it better? Obviously, if you involve somebody in it, their commitment's going to be higher. But even more importantly, the chances of you getting to the right answer that it's going to work, go up 100-fold if you're talking to the person doing the actual thing. And I know that sounds so simple and logical, but it's so easy to forget sometimes too. So go to the source, ask them, and be quiet and listen. And that's your best chance to get change across town in your company.
That's solid. Okay, so I'm staring at something inside my own company. What advice would you give me before I start wanting to go at this sacred cow? Uh, Give me an advice as a business owner or leader in a company.
Yeah, I think maybe one of the first things to do is to, demystify all the terrible things that could possibly happen. Like if you do something like right in it and the worst thing that happens, like what could that be? And a lot of times the reality of what that is probably a lot less than what you've built it up to in your mind. And so I'd outline that first, all the bad things that could happen. And then if those things happen, what do you do? Is that a big deal, little deal, no deal to unwind it? Um, and then last, like if it goes really, really well, man, what's all the upside? And get it up on the board and just identify those things. And I think a lot of times when you go through that process and you talk about it and you write it out, that stuff that was scary, man, it isn't scary anymore. Or you were worried about stuff that you just didn't need to be worried about before. And the whole mountain out of a molehill thing. I think we can all do that. And then when we get through it, you're like, oh, that wasn't as bad as we thought.
Yeah, so as you talk it, there's three big things there. One is what's your filter for things, purpose or vision, and then your annual goals, and then where do good ideas go live to fight another day if not now is the right time as a parking lot. Two, ask the people doing the work. You're right. It is so simple and yet so easy to forget. And then finally, how do you assess risk? And what is the worst case scenario? And then what's your plan in case it doesn't work, to roll it back? And so be prepared in that way. What did I miss? Those are big, big things.
Um, I got a good example of one of those if you want to hear another story.
Bring it.
So, so another thing that we did during COVID. So first off, we opened up a restaurant during COVID because we're crazy, and we decided to do that. And but doing that meant we needed to hire a lot of people, and this was at a time when nobody wanted to work, and it was tough to go find talent. And I mean, it is still it's still tough out there today. But we needed 450 people is what we needed to go hire during COVID. And so how do you do that? Well, to the point of go to your team and ask them. We did that with a huge intensity. And so a lot of companies have referral programs, and we did too before that. But we went back to our team, and we basically we increased all those referrals, which obviously helped. But we gamified referrals. For our team, mostly through social media. And so what we ended up doing was our marketing partner created basically these links, these ads for them to go, our team to go to their social media and say, hey, Jack Stack's looking for talent. And if somebody clicked on one of those, that person who put it out there on their social media account, they got a point. And the more points they got, the more money they would get from us. And then if somebody came in and said, and they got actually hired from that, that was worth an additional point. And then if somebody came in and clicked on it and got hired and said, oh, by the way, I know, John Smith too, they got even an additional point. And then we just did a big scoreboard of all of this. And we had more people applying and raising their hands than we knew what to do with. And from going to the team and asking the troops, hey, help us go find people that you love, that you like, and through your channels that you want to work next to. And oh, by the way, we're going to kind of make this a competition in a healthy way. It's ended up being incredible, truly incredible.
What were the results?
Well, we hired 450 people. I don't know how many total we had apply. It was, somewhere north of 700. Like it was a ridiculous amount of individuals. We also have been very blessed to, have a really good core team here. But since then, since COVID, we've got about 850 people on our team right now, and I'd say about half of them were, from before COVID in the 10 to 15, 20 to 25 year range, and the rest kind of joined during COVID. And it's such a cool thing to see these tenured individuals with new people, and to see fresh new ideas and lots of experience kind of come together. And we're just, we couldn't be luckier with the group of team members that we have here in this company. It's one of the main reasons I've been here almost 30 years is, man, I love the people that I work with, and it's great. And we get to do a cool thing by selling barbecue and creating hope in Kansas City. I don't know that it gets much better than that, Dan. I don't know, maybe your job, maybe being Dan Cooper might be better, but second would be eating barbecue and doing hope in Kansas City.
You might win because I don't serve wings or brisket. So yeah, that doesn't work there. Okay, bonus question. How are you being sharpened, challenged, and inspired today?
Other than you,
Such as
hey, Dan, I love you. You've been mentoring me for or is this 8 years now? Something like that.
you're one of the OGs at this point, man.
Yeah.
You weren't 15, but yeah, it's
So I'm reading a new book by Marcus Buckingham. I'm a big Marcus Buckingham fan. He's got a new book out called Love and Work. And he it's a cool mix of culturally the impact of love within the workplace and loving on people, and how that can get real results. And then Marcus is Marcus, so he has a lot of like real science and statistics around it too, to kind of prove why it actually works. And so it's just such a lovely blend of squishy and hard stuff in a book that I just love. So
that's great. You can't mess around with Mr. Buckingham. That is true. Well, we are so appreciative that you are creating hope through hospitality by serving us cows and pigs and occasionally green leafy stuff. Where can our listeners find out more about you and this place that they can go try all this stuff?
yeah, jackstackbbq.com has everything. You can ship barbecue, do carry out, find about the restaurants, anything and everything. And come celebrate 50 years in our Martin City location over the next 2 weeks. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Darn right. Maybe you get one of those old hats that has the pig in a swimsuit, and
Yep.
you could see what the old school logo looked like. I hope you can
We
try that
do.
out.
We do. We actually do have special shirts that we're selling, and actually special pint glasses too to commemorate it. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. We got a couple special surprises too over the next few weeks, so it's gonna be a blast.
Awesome. Go to the website and check that out. If you are interested in becoming a member of Acumen, you can go to our website, acumenimpact.com, click on the apply button. Or if you'd like to learn more, we have a ton of great content resources under that resources tab. Mr. Carpenter, as always, it's good to be with you. Appreciate you coming on.
God bless you.
All
Thanks,
right.
Dan.
Peace.
See ya.